Hello everyone, I'm Tongtian. Today I'm talking about some follow-up on the examination and the diagnostics for the Dyson Sphere candidates using the archival data, because as Eric demonstrated right now, I mean the dedicated observation chances are very, very hard to get. So it's very useful to use some archival data to reduce the cost for the resources. So let me briefly take you to look through the background again. We know that it's less than 2 years ago, ARC and Suazo, they published the list of the 7 candidates. And you can see this is their positions on the HR diagram. So let's move on. One example, candidate G is the first one to get to the observed. So in summer of 2024, we conducted the high resolution interferometric observations using the emerging and the EVN radio telescope arrays. So we observed the candidate G because it was the multiple observed by multiple radio surveys, and we found at different frequencies, its flux density appears to have, they are different, appear to have following a power law of the AJN from its cyclotron emission flag from the supermassive black hole in the galaxy center. You can see this map is showing the one triple structure is on the left hand side, and in the right hand side we can see this is a star's position. There's no radio emission. If we compare this position with the WISE maps, you can see I'm zooming this figure now, so you can see in the W1 and W2 the emissions, they align with the position of the star. But at the W3, W4, you can see the deviant, they have the offset to the star, but they are more close to the blue ellipse marker. This marker shows the position, the axis length and the position angle of the VLA sky survey source of the same, radio source. However, its resolution is poor, but anyway, the radio source size is much smaller than the 5 arc cyclones, which is the offset between the radio source to the star, as well as very close to the spatial resolution of the WISE satellite. So you can see this, this blue source position is consistent with the supermassive black hole position that is determined through the emerging and the EVN observations. So we think that the contributor of the infrared at the W3, W4, those infrared excess are higher than the normal, the really keen scale of the stellar ICD from the background AJN, and its character, which is brightly at the W3, W4, which are over 10 microns, and it's showing that this AJN is the hot DOJ, the hot dust obstacle galaxy. So, given the VLSIs, this is the radio archival image data. It has already captured the evidence of the candidate G. What if we try to observe the candidate G from some optical data, the near infrared images? We can see from this, from some surveys, for example, the Vista survey, it is designed to capture some faint stars in the Milky Way to capture some evidence of the evolution of the Milky Way, our galaxy. This is in the near infrared. And if we focus on the optical, we can see the legacy, the legacy survey can capture many faint objects. Their magnitude can reach, fainter than 20 magnitudes. So V star and the legacy are fainter than like the normal ordinary surveys, like the 2 miles, like the sloan. So if we take a look at the candidate G, we can see from VHIs, we can see it's already observed, and so that's the legacy story. And the VHI theory also provided some photometric classification to classify the star and the galaxies. The legacy can classify some of the objects into the type of PSF brightness profile, and some are round exponential, some are normal exponential. So the later 2 types of the profile, they refer that the galaxy, the backgrounds are more likely to be galaxy rather than the stellar that they should have the PSF. So from the image evidence deeper than the normal, surveys, we can see the hot DOG associated with the candidate G and contributed to the near infrared axis is already observed from, these 2 surveys. What if the other candidates, as Eric said, in Suazo's paper in 2024, 7 candidates from A to G were observed. And besides of the G, you can see the 3 pictures. There are 3 objects. The left-hand one refers to the candidate G. It was multiple observed in 2024. And the left-hand 2, left and middle, they refer to the A and B. So the 2 objects, at that moment, were only observed by the RAX survey at around 888 megahertz using the beam size, given the beam size of 25 arcseconds. So this resolution is much larger than the West resolution. So at that moment, they don't have any other record at other frequency, and the resolution is limited. So they represent for some poor evidence, some such cases at that moment. But later, afterward, in around 2025, some new data was released at over 1 GHz. The Ruxer survey published some new image data, given the beam size of under 10 arcseconds. So they are very close to the West resolution. You can see the upper ones, they are the candidate A image, and the bottom one, they are the candidate B. And you can see besides of the RUX survey data, the Gleam X survey, although its resolution is over 1 arcminute, but they provided some lower frequency flux densities. So you can see in the bottom, in the right bottom, the candidate B is showing AGN, like spectral index. You can see, and its radio source is offset to the stellar position. But for candidate A, we only have 3 bands of the flux density data, and the stellar position and the radio source position, they look to be clustered together by less than 3 arcseconds away. So what if we ignore the radio images? Let's directly take a look at the West images in the near infrared. We can see the blue, the light blue, the contours and the markers, they stand for the wise infrared, the image contour according to their significance to the background. And the blue, ellipse markers and the crosses, they stand for the radio source positions. We can see as highlighted using the red circles. The candidate B, you can see at the W1, W2, the light green markers and the contours align well with the stellar position. But if we take a look at the W3, W4, the the near infrared, the middle infrared position aligns better with the radio source positions. So as for candidate A, it looks all the stellar positions, radio source positions, and the centroids of the middle infrared, the emission positions, they look to be still, blended together. And let's move on to some other evidence. Although, it looks that for candidate A is W1, W2, W3, W4. The centroids of the infrared emissions looks to be blended. But what if the centroid to the stellar positions compared to the normal stars? We selected the 15, normal stars with a similar W1, W2 signal to noise ratio and the G band optical magnitude. We found that the outside of the candidate A is significantly larger than the normal stars. So this is showing that the candidate A is very likely to be contaminated too. So if we move to some other evidence like the candidate G, the Whistler theory and the Leggett theory have some deep image in the optical and the near infrared. We can see for candidate B, there is a tail-like structure is collocated with the radio source positions and the near infrared centroids. We suspect this is photometric unresolved galaxy is very close to the stellar brightness profile. It's likely optical visible at in the legacy series, but for candidate A, we can see those of the centroids and the stellar positions and the radio source positions still appears to be located too close. Only the indirect evidence of the outside are larger than the normal ordinary M dot stars is suggesting that this case is likely to be contaminated. So let's move to the other four candidates, C, D, E, and F. Let's focus on the candidate C. You can see this green contours still represents for the positions, the significance level of the middle infrared emissions across 4 west bands. So you can see W4 and W3, they significantly offset to the position of the star by over 5 seconds away. We think this galaxy, with this star is also contributed to a background galaxy because by inspecting the Vista, VMC theory, we found in the KS band in the near infrared, there is a galaxy-like source is collected with the W3 and W4, the near middle infrared centroids. We think this should be the evidence showing the existence of the background contamination is likely. This galaxy should be a hot DOG. So as for the other 3 candidates, D, E are observed by the JWST, and the result was revealed by Eric. Another one is the candidate F. So for candidates D, E, and F, we think there's no significant evidence like the outside, the background companion objects revealed by the Vista theory. But if we compare them with the normal M dot stars, we can see that the 3 rows they represent for D, E, and F. The candidate D appears to have the lowest offset between, compared to the ordinary M dot stars with the similar W1, W2, SNR, and the G band magnitude. They have the, smallest offset and deviation. And D, E, and F, they have a larger deviation from the control stars. by comparing the offsets to the control stars. So, the conclusion would be, if we don't taking account of the JWST observation results, candidate B and candidate C, they are most likely the contaminant cases because we even identified the likely background, contaminant galaxy. And if we see the candidate A, everything looks to be blended, but we found the AGN-like spectrum, and we also found some offsets, they are larger than the control stars. As for candidate D, E and F, they appear to be having larger offsets compared to the control stars. And the candidate D, before Eric reviewed the JWST MRI observation results, it has the closest stellar to middle infrared wise centroid, distances, and we haven't found any, explicitly likely evidence for the contamination. So this is a diagnostic result. Thank you for everyone's listening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tongtian. Fascinating work. So we do have a few minutes if anyone has any questions. I'll ask a brief one. Do you know if any radio SETI groups have pointed toward candidate D?
I think they were trying to capture some likely narrowband signals, but I don't think the result has already been published.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Very interesting.